and welcome to the Owatonna Today Show. Happy April 1st. Hopefully you enjoyed your Easter. I want to say happy birthday to my nephew Ben, who was born on this day, even though I didn't believe it when they first told me. It is April 1st. I want to thank you so much for joining us right here on the Owatonna Today Show. Remember, you can find us 6 days a week right here on Charter Channel 8, but if for some reason you miss an episode that you really want to see, there's several ways you can find it. You can always find us on YouTube, blip.tv, or if you like us on Facebook, Leanne will upload the latest episode right to your Facebook page. So it's a lot of opportunities for you to see what's going on in your community. If you've got some ideas that you'd like to share with us right here on the Owatonna Today Show, go ahead and send us an email at owatonnatoday@charter.net, or you can call Leanne Alt at 390-5751. I'm excited about today's show. We're going to talk about Towards Zero Deaths and how you can help achieve that right here in the city of Owatonna. We'll be right back with the Owatonna Today Show.
I'm Dan Branstead of Carlson Branstead & Company, Certified Public Accountants. We support the Owatonna Today Show.
Owatonna Public Utilities, real people, real reliable, real progress. Making life a little easier day after day, taking pride in our community, listening to what you say, a voice you can talk to. We're growing with you in mind in everything we do. Owatonna Public Utilities.
Hi, this is Laura Ressler greeting you from the Steele County Historical Society's History Center, where we're honoring the past and looking towards the future. We're proud to be a sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
And we're back with the Owatonna Today Show. I have Dee vonWald of the Owatonna Police Department. What's happening?
Oh, nothing.
Okay, good. I'm all
Just came
excited.
up on D instead.
Oh,
I was just going to say.
surprise! Good morning. She was wondering if she's awake now. She knows. And then we also have Jane Nyquist of Public Health. And we're here today to talk about Towards Zero Death. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Just fine.
Good.
Happy Easter, belated,
Yeah,
and April
exactly.
Fool's Day.
Yeah, did you guys have any April Fool's pranks you're ready to play?
Oh, I could play lots of them, but we won't start there.
Do you have a history?
Oh, yes.
Good for you. Good. Well, we want to talk today about Towards Zero Death. So let's start with you. Jane, tell me, we should start with Dee, shouldn't we, since she's already there. Dee, tell us a little bit about, you actually said that this was originally Safe and Sober, and that's been going on for over a decade.
Yes. The Owatonna Police Department has been involved with Safe and Sober or Towards Zero Deaths concept since 1998. And I've been fortunate to be a part of that for that many years. And so what it is back in 2003, we really started the TZD coalition. And what it did was, Safe and Sober was strictly just law enforcement. But TZD works with the 4 E's. It's where law enforcement, engineers, whether they be county, state, or city engineers, EMS and trauma doctors, and educators are getting together saying, okay, what can we do to change the mindset of driving or change so that we cut down on the number of deaths on Minnesota roads? Up until the inception of TZD, we had over 600 deaths on Minnesota roads. And Towards Zero Death, like I said, we're working on how can we lower those. And since then, we've lowered the number of deaths on Minnesota roads by 275 each year.
Wow. Saving lives.
Saving lives.
Wow, that's so exciting. So that's a long period of time. I mean, you talked about changing people's mindsets. So can you tell me what you have seen, what changes you have seen in the public as far as safety while driving?
I would say the number one thing is seatbelts. The people wearing seatbelts, when we first started talking about seatbelts or whatever, I mean, you'd hear people say the government isn't going to tell me I have to wear my seatbelt or whatever. But when you start talking about crash dynamics and what happens if you choose not to wear your seatbelt, it starts making sense, and people go, oh, I could save my life, and a lot of people ask, well, he was wearing a seatbelt, how did he crash or how did he die? Well, what's roaming around your car that can hit you? What people don't realize with crash dynamics is you take the speed and the weight of the object and you times that together, and I'll just use it for instance, if you have a crash out on the interstate at 70 miles an hour and you have a passenger that weighs 100 pounds and they're not seat belted in, they now become a 7,000 pound object roaming around the car.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so, okay, if you get hit by a 7,000 pound object, are you going to be able to survive it?
No.
And then the same thing too, if they get pitched out of a car during a crash, are they going to be able to survive hitting the ground at 7,000 pounds?
Yeah.
And so when we start talking about that, and especially as we get older, we hate to admit it, but we become frail. And so it's even more imperative that as we age that we wear our seat belts just to keep us in place so that we don't take the impact of that crash.
Wow. And so what's interesting is that was a whole mindset change that had to happen.
Yes.
And Jane, we have another mindset now that we're having to happen because of the new technologies that are put in place. We have these really fancy gadgets called cell phones, and they're not just phones anymore. They're email, they're texting, there's all these different things.
Little computers.
They are little computers, and so now we have to change another mindset. Let's talk a little bit about that and some of those issues.
Well, that's something that the Towards Zero Death folks are going to be focusing on this month in April. Actually, April 18th is considered Distracted Driving Day. And
but it's not a day to be distractedly driving.
oh, heaven forbid. It's when we might have more law enforcement on the roads looking for distracted drivers. If you're under 18, you cannot use a cell phone in a car, period.
Why is that? Why are they setting up that limitation? For those who are teens who are watching, why?
Because we have to realize that as new drivers, just like in any other job or whatever, when we're new at it, we're just trying to figure things out or whatever. You add all these other things into it and it becomes a distraction. What we want new drivers to focus on for the first 2 years is driving, period. That's it.
Yeah. And again, that's a statistic thing too. It's not just we're making this up and we don't like
No,
teenagers. No, it's something that we have seen historically.
It's evidence-based. Studies have been done ad nauseum on this all. It's been proven.
And even if you look at the last few years, just recently Southeast Minnesota, they had the death of that teenage girl that was texting while she was driving, and she ended up running into another vehicle and killing herself. And that's one thing that we want to lower. The main cause of death for 15 to 19-year-olds is car crashes.
Wow.
And 16-year-olds have the highest statistic of death rate just due to the fact they're new drivers, they don't know what they're doing, and things like that. So everybody says, well, our older population is the most deadly people on the road, but it's not true. It's the young people.
Maybe the most annoying because they are going slow, they are being safe, and so that can be, people can talk about older drivers being slow, but they're also driving safer.
They're driving.
They're being more
safely.
careful.
Yes, they are.
But if you really look at it, they're driving the speed limit. They're driving
Exactly.
according to the law.
Exactly.
So we're actually the annoying people when we drive too
true.
fast
Yep.
and not obeying the laws.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
just we're such a fast-paced society that we think we got to keep going in that, where they are the relaxed part of society because they don't have to be any place fast or anything like that. So they drive for the conditions.
Yes, which is very important.
Oh, yes.
And again, that brings me back to the concept of this whole cell phone thing. Again, this high-paced speed. I have to answer my phone. I have to text right now because my girlfriend is texting me. Again, if we could just take a little bit of a card from their playbook and just slow things down and realize that text, that phone call can wait, especially when you're driving as a new teen, it can, again, save lives.
Statistics are showing that, and there was just a recent study that came out last week about actually adults are the worst texters, and we need to put our phones away. We need to shut them off, put them on mute, put them in the back seat. No life is worth a text, and you've probably seen commercials to that effect. We need to focus on the road. We've got a 2,000 plus pound vehicle we're running, and while we may be safe, we may kill somebody else, and we really need to be thinking about that. Driving takes 100% focus. There are so many studies out there that show, if you're texting, if you're talking on the phone, if you're eating French fries, it reduces your focus on the road and your ability to react to anything in the road or
You have a
conditions.
statistic here that says that if you use a cell phone, whether hands-free or handheld, It delays your reactions as much as having an alcohol concentration of 0.08%.
That's scary.
What is the legal limit?
0.08.
Yeah. So it's as if you are
Legally impaired.
And so that's
Exactly
really
right.
important thing
Exactly
to
right.
realize.
And it also, one of the other statistics we had here that says, if you take your eyes off the road if you text while driving, it's like taking your eyes off the road for 4.6 out of 6 seconds, which is about the distance of a football field that you're driving on, say, the freeway. That's a long time to take your eyes off the road because you're dinging around.
Now, to add another dynamic to that, if you really look at reaction time, you break it down, the average reaction time is 2 seconds. And that's where your brain tells your foot that you have to stop. You take your foot off the brake and hit the brake pedal, and then the brakes start kicking in. It takes 2 seconds. So if you're distracted for 5 seconds, it's another 2 seconds before you're ever going to even start slowing down. Now, what can happen in 7 seconds?
A lot. When you're going that fast?
Yes.
Oh, yes, when
And
you're
if
going
you're
that fast.
driving 65 or 60 miles an hour, let's just use that one, in 10 seconds, you're driving about a quarter of a mile. So a quarter of a mile, and if the other guy your meeting's going a quarter of a mile texting or whatever, that's a recipe for death.
Yes.
Well, and I think that also it's such a temptation. I know I've heard of people who actually lock their phone in their trunk.
Yep.
So that they don't even have any kind of desire
Good idea.
to kind of do that kind of thing. And again, it's whatever is happening is not so imperative that you can do that. And I think also, I was saying earlier, sometimes we feel like, especially teenagers, they're indestructible, but we also have to take the other person into consideration.
That's exactly
the
right.
effect that you can have on someone else's life.
Yeah.
The change of mind, when we talk about change of mindset, that's the same thing going back to older drivers or whatever. In talking with them, you say, okay, how many of you get mad when people drive fast? And so they raise their hand. I says, well, how many of you drive fast? And how many of you drive slow? And so someone will say, well, I drive the speed limit or a little below. And I says, how many of you get mad at people that drive slow? Okay, we have to go back to Minnesota Nice. We have to have the change of mindset to respecting each other while we're on the road, and not the flying of the hands and
Yes,
the
the
anger and
anger.
those kinds of things. Because when we try and drive fast or we're impatient, then we become easily agitated.
Ladies, I would like to continue this conversation if you don't mind. We'll just take a quick commercial break. We'll come back, and then we're also going to talk about Public Safety Month, the week.
National Public Health Week.
That's what it is. We'll
That's
be right
what it is.
back with the Owatonna Today Show. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Sean McNulty,
And I'm Deb Gillard with Brookdale Senior Living, Sterling House, and Clarebridge of Owatonna.
and we are a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
Don't let the cold winter weather stop you from exercising. Keep up your fitness program at the West Hills Tennis and Fitness Center. We offer a variety of different membership packages available on daily, monthly, and yearly basis. We also have a variety of programs and services to help the newest of members get started and to help those who have been around for a while improve on what they are doing. The Tennis and Fitness Center participates in insurance reimbursement programs with a variety of different insurance providers that could make you eligible for up to $20 credit each month. For more information about the West Hills Tennis and Fitness Center, call us at 444-4290.
Do you know how to safely dispose of your expired or unused prescription and non-prescription medications? Not by flushing them down the toilet or putting them in the garbage. Doing so pollutes our rivers, streams, and drinking water supply. Take it to the box instead for safe, secure disposal. It's easy. Bring your unused medications in their original containers to the drop-off locations listed on the screen and drop them in the Take It to the Box drop box. Proper disposal of unwanted medications keeps them out of the hands of children and out of our environment. This is a message from the Safe and Drug-Free Coalition of Steele County.
Hi, I'm Glenn Mager.
And I'm Tim Thomas of the Brick Mager Funeral Home, and we're proud to serve the Medford and Owatonna areas with cremation and traditional funeral services.
And we're proud to be a part of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hi, my name's Dave Olson and I'm with R&K Electric, where we provide power to the people. We're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
And we're back with the Owatonna Today Show. Shelley Whitehead, I have Dee vonWald, and I also have, sorry, I'm so bad with the name, Jane Nyquist. I know, it's terrible. At least you didn't
I knew
rename
you knew.
Oftentimes I'm reading people Bob, so at least you got your real name.
Bob. That's okay.
Well, we're talking about safety and trying the promotion that we have going towards 0 deaths. Dee, do you really think that's possible?
I can always hope and pray.
Yeah, and so to where, I guess the thing is that there's always going to be accidents, weather conditions, things like that, but to have it to the point where it's not caused by distracted driving?
If we continue to work together that, cars are safer today. They're made to crumple and take the impact of it, but the inside where people live is a cage. It's made stronger than it's ever been before, and that's where a lot of deaths were, because they crumpled, the whole car crumpled, whereas a cage is made to hold up. And if we keep our seatbelts in there, and if you get a chance to go on YouTube, go to the Fox 9 video, Room to Live. And it's a touching story where a father's saying, I wanted to walk my daughter down the aisle when she got married, not in a casket. And it talks about how wearing your seatbelt can keep you inside the car and you can survive a crash.
Because it's designed to do that.
It is.
It is. It's designed to do that. So can we get there? I think if people, again, go back to the mindset of thinking of other people, not just themselves. If we have patience while we're driving and not put ourselves at the higher risk because we're in a hurry. Statistically, it shows that if you drive 10 miles over the speed limit for 1 hour, you gain approximately 5 minutes. So, and if you look at it, how many times have you watched somebody go speeding by you and you're coming up to a stoplight and you pull up to the stoplight and that car is right there? So what did they gain by driving that fast other than putting themselves at risk and you at risk?
Well, we've talked about this, another risky behavior is texting and driving, and teens just, it's hard for them. Their brains go haywire. But there's something as parents that we need to do. We need to step up, take responsibility. And you were talking about some apps, Jane, that parents can put on the phone.
Well, there's several things, and Dee can talk about some of them too. You can have a contract with your child. There are cell phone apps. I was looking online the other day. There's 3 I'll highlight, but I haven't seen any of them in action. One's called Safe Driver. One's called Drive Safely Pro. Another Key to Safe Driving. They're for different cell phone formats, but there's something a parent could put on the phone that can kind of monitor or disable the phone too, so that the kid can use it. Well, we all should have one of these apps on our phones if we don't shut it off or put it in the back seat. But there's a driving contract that you can have with your child, and you can stipulate the rules that you want them to. We have a graduated driver's license program, and there are certain rules there that law enforcement can enforce, but we can also do our own. We're parents. Be the parent. Set some guidelines. And then if your child isn't following the contract or your rules, parent can request to get your license taken away.
When you're talking about that, you said you're the meanest mom in the world.
I'm the meanest mom in the world because when my kids were driving, I changed it. The rule is by law that you can have one person for the first 6 months you have your driver's license. You have one person other than family members in the car with them.
So you can have your brother, but you can also have a friend the first 6 months.
First 6 months.
One.
Only one. And then the second 6 months, you can have up to 3 friends in the car plus family members while you're driving.
Let's talk about that really quick. Why did they put that limitation on those other friends in the car?
Because what happens when too many kids get in the car, we get to chatting, we get to goofing off and things like that, and then the driver becomes distracted and it's a recipe for crashes.
Okay. That makes sense.
And so, like I said, I was a meanest mom because the first 6 months my kids got their driver's license, they couldn't have anybody in the car, and the second 6 months they could only have one person in the car with them. And that was it. I mean, no others, family members, no nothing. That's what they had, and so on and so forth. So, you as parents can do that too. And then the other thing too is keep in mind, driving is a privilege. Yeah. And too many kids think it's a rite of passage that I have to have it. It's mine because I'm 16, whatever the case may be. Well, along with that comes the mindset as I'm an adult. I don't have to listen to parents. I don't have to do what they say, those kinds of things. Well, parents, there is a tool out there for you. You can actually ask the state of Minnesota to suspend your child's driver's license until age 18.
So if your child is exhibiting behavior that is not responsible, he could take someone else's life, he, she. Because of their behavior, the parent can go to the courts
Yes.
And say, please suspend his license. Do they have to have a reason?
They don't have to go to the courts. They can just send a letter into the state, this form, and I do have the form, that they can send into the state of Minnesota requesting the driver's license be suspended.
Wow. And
powerful, isn't it?
Well, it's powerful because I think sometimes when you have a teenager who's older, 16, 17, you kind of feel sometimes out of, like, you don't have control anymore because they're mini adults, so they want to be.
Yep.
And so, but we still have to parent them.
Yes.
We do. Yeah.
And that's the key right there. We have to parent them. But also the other thing as parents we have to keep in mind too is they've watched us drive for the first 15 years of their lives. And so they mimic a lot of the things that we are doing. So if you're seeing behaviors in your child, you may want to look at your own driving. And that's what some of the apps are too. Some of the insurance companies have certain apps that they can put on the car that can send texts to parents when a child is driving erratically or carelessly and stuff like that. The thing about that is some of the kids have changed that out and says, you know what, my parents need to have this too to show them what they're doing for driving behavior. So like I said, the kids are watching us.
Works two ways.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's not just about following the laws. The laws are there because they're safety precautions. It's not somebody got bored and just made up a bunch of laws. Things happened. We saw trends. The laws are made to create a more safe environment for everyone.
You're right.
Well, if you look at it, my job is to protect and to serve. And I get that thrown in my face all the time. You're here to protect me. And yeah, sometimes it's to protect you from yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what the laws are for. Yeah,
that's hard to hear. But
you know, yep. And that's just it. If you're driving erratically, if you're driving carelessly or whatever, my job is to stop you and maybe either educate you or issue you a citation to remind you that this is not good behavior.
Yeah, you know, and I think it's so important also as parents to help put a respect for those law enforcement people in there. And I think sometimes from the culture of the television and those kind of things, we don't get that same feeling of respect. We see them more as the other side, but they need to actually, you're a partner in this to protect and everyone in the community.
Right. And you know, and we're there, we care. We're doing our job because we do care and we don't want to see people dying on our Minnesota roads. So like I said, our job is to protect and serve you from sometimes yourself.
Well, and I think public health has that same directive, doesn't it, Jane? I know that
we do.
You are there to help the community that we're in.
That's exactly right. And well, between the two of us, we have a coalition that meets every other month too, and we invite anybody in the community that would like to see our culture change, so that we can get down to zero traffic safety deaths, to give me a call at Public Health, because we'd love to have you come to one of our meetings. We have them every other month, like I said, and we just had one, so probably the end of May, early June, we'll have another one. Another thing, though, just before we close on this Towards Zero Death, this month is a young driver focus and seatbelt focus. So law enforcement will be out looking for folks that are not wearing their seatbelts, young and old alike. Yeah. And they'll have extra patrols on the road. And then, as I mentioned, April 18th is distracted driving.
Can we quick run through some distracted driving? This is what interesting are things that people don't realize are distracting. Yeah. Talking to people in the car, yelling at your children.
Don't make me come back there.
Digging in your purse, grooming yourself, eating.
Brushing
and
your
you
teeth.
laugh at that. I've watched people read books, newspapers, and maps while they're driving. Right. Using the equipment within the car is distracting, especially if you're driving a car that you're not familiar with. Familiarize yourself before you ever get in the car. Getting back to eating, 25% of all meals are consumed in the car while driving.
Wow. Just a change in our society. Huge
And what I would say is everybody take a look and see who's all eating while in the car, and you'll see that statistic is, I think, going up versus down.
Wow.
Plus, to the person that I saw brushing their teeth about a year ago in the front seat of their car as they were driving, please think twice about that.
So these are things to think about. These are things, behaviors to make yourself aware. I think sometimes we're not even aware we're doing them.
No.
Be aware of them.
No, we are.
It's become such a standard that we don't even think twice about it.
We were traveling so much in our car. It's our second home.
It's our second home, our office.
Yeah. Well, really quickly, we do want to, it is Public Health
It is National Public Health Week this week, April 1st through the 5th. The theme this year is Save Lives, Save Money.
Which is interesting.
There's a return on investment with public health. Public health is all about prevention. Each day this week, we're going to have a different theme. Today, we're going to have ensuring a healthy home for your family. Tomorrow is providing safe environment at school. Well, we don't have school this week, but we can do that. We can do that in the future. Wednesday is creating a healthy workplace. Thursday is protecting you while you move, which is traffic safety and changing the culture. And Friday is empowering healthy communities.
So check out the website, and you can find out more information.
National Public Health Association.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been very informative, and we got to do it more. It's just how it's going to happen.
That's cool.
All right, we'll be right back with the Owatonna Today Show. Please stay with us.
Hi, I'm Amy Martinez.
And I'm Adam Martinez, owners of Snap Fitness in Owatonna.
Snap Fitness is a fast, convenient, and affordable fitness center, and we're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
Everyone deserves opportunities to have a good life, a quality education that leads to a stable job, enough income to support a family through retirement, and good health. But the reality is, many children fall behind, many families are struggling, and many others are in poor health. United Way's goal is to find long-term solutions. Thanks to a grant from the Otto Bremer Foundation, we're hosting community conversations this year to address these issues. If you'd like to join us, please call our office.
Hi, this is Barry Gillespie, president of ERA Gillespie Real Estate, where our pledge is to save you money, save you time, and simplify your life. And we're proud supporters of the Owatonna Today Show.
And we're back with the Owatonna Today Show. I want to give you a few community service announcements so you'll know what's going on in your area. The Steele County Historical Society is pleased to announce the children's programming for Thursday, April 4th at 10:15 a.m. at 6:30 p.m. at the History Center on Austin Road in Owatonna. The History Detectives is their preschool-aged children program. The meeting at 10:15 in the morning at the exhibit hall at the History Center. The topic will be communication from pioneer days till present and how has it changed. Very interesting. Obviously, cell phones are now a big part of that, and I'm sure they didn't have to worry about distracted driving when they were in their covered wagons as much as we do today, but that'll be an interesting look for the kids. Children's programs are offered on the first Thursday of each month, and you can get more information by checking out the Steele County Historical Society's website or by calling 451-1420. The Owatonna Arts Center presents the Riverland Community College Choirs this Sunday at 2 p.m. They'll present music ranging from Renaissance motets to the Beatles and Broadway, led by Scott Blankenbaker, which is the Riverland's Director of Choirs. Students and alumni will share an afternoon of folk, popular, sacred, and jazz music. The event is free and open to the public, so they really would like to join them at the Owatonna Arts Center. The Crisis Resource Center is having their 12th annual Healing the Hearts of Our Children luncheon. This is coming up Tuesday, April 9th from noon to 1. Terry Nicolai, who's, this is her, I guess her ex-husband did try to take her life on January of 2004. She's going to be talking about that experience and how we can, work our way towards ending domestic violence and sexual violence in Steele County. Luncheon tickets are $25. There are sponsorship packages. If you'd like to be a part of that, you can contact the Crisis Resource Center. All proceeds will benefit the Crisis Resource Center's Abused Children's Program. You can call for more information at 451-1202. That's again Tuesday, April 9th from noon to 1 at the Eagles Club in Owatonna. Sounds like a great opportunity to help raise money and awareness. Please join them for that. And then the Steele County Historical Society would like to announce the lecture by Dr. Patrick Greenwood. He is going to, a physician and author, and he's going to be talking about the Henry brothers from Navy corpsmen to physicians. And so they'd love for you to join them on Tuesday, April 11th at 7 p.m. in the Wenger Room of the History Center in Owatonna. Thank you again so much for joining us. We'd love for you to join us on Wednesday. We'll be talking about, what are we talking about on Wednesday? I don't know, I can't find it. But we'll talk about something interesting, I'm sure. So we'll see you then. Thanks.